Chapter 26 Umrah Minor Pilgrimage. Chapter 1 Umrah and its Superiority. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, "The performance of Umrah is an expiation for the sins committed between it and the previous one, and the reward of Hajj Mabrur, the one accepted by Allah, is nothing except paradise." Chapter 2 Umrah before Hajj. Narrated Ibn Juray. Ikrimah bin Khalid asked Ibn Umar about performing Umrah before Hajj. Ibn Umar replied, "There is no harm in it." Ikrimah said, Ibn Umar also said, "The Prophet had performed Umrah before performing Hajj." Narrated Ikrimah bin Khalid. I asked Ibn Umar the same as above. Chapter 3 How many times did the Prophet ﷺ perform Umrah? Narrated Mujahid. Urwa bin As-Zubayr and I entered the mosque of the Prophet and saw Abdullah bin Umar sitting near the dwelling place of Aisha, and some people were offering the duha prayer. We asked him about their prayer, and he replied that it was heresy. He, Urwa, then asked him how many times the Prophet had performed Umrah. He replied, 4 times. One of them was in the month of Rajab. We disliked to contradict him. Then we heard Aisha, the mother of faithful believers, cleaning her teeth with siwak in the dwelling place. Urwa said, O mother of the believers, don't you hear what Abu Abdurrahman is saying?" She said, "What does he say?" Urwa said, "He says that Allah's Messenger performed 4 Umrah, and one of them was in the month of Rajab." Aisha said, "May Allah be merciful to Abu Abdurrahman. The Prophet did not perform any Umrah except that he was with him, and he never performed any Umrah in Rajab." Narrated Urwa bin As-Zubayr. I asked Aisha whether the Prophet had performed Umrah in Rajab. She replied, Allah's Messenger never performed any Umrah in Rajab. Narrated Qatada. I asked Anas how many times the Prophet had performed Umrah. He replied, 4 times. 1 Umrah of Hudaybiyah in Dhul-Qa'dah, when the pagans hindered him. 2 Umrah in the following year in Dhul-Qa'dah, after the peace treaty with them, the pagans. 3 Umrah from Al-Jarana, where he distributed the war booty. I think he meant the booty of the Battle of Hunain. I asked, how many times did he perform Hajj? He, Anas, replied, once. Narrated Qatada. I asked Anas about the Prophet's Umrah, and he replied, the Prophet performed Umrah when the pagans made him return, and Umrah of Al-Hudaybiyah the next year, and another Umrah in Dhul-Qa'dah, and another Umrah in combination with his Hajj. Narrated Hammam. The Prophet performed 4 Umrah, 3 in Dhul-Qa'dah, except the 1 Umrah which he performed with his Hajj, his Umrah from Al-Hudaybiyah, and the one of the following year, and the one from Al-Jarana, where he distributed the booty of the Battle of Hunain, and another Umrah with his Hajj. Narrated Abu Ishaq. I asked Masruq, Atta and Mujahid about the Umrah of Allah's Messenger. They said, Allah's Messenger had performed Umrah in Dhul-Qa'dah before he performed Hajj. I heard Al-Bara bin Asib saying, Allah's Messenger had performed Umrah in Dhul Qa'dah twice before he performed Hajj. Chapter 4. Umrah in the month of Ramadan. Narrated Atta. I heard Ibn Abbas saying, Allah's Messenger asked an Ansari woman. Ibn Abbas named her, but Atta forgot her name. What prevented you from performing Hajj with us? She replied, We have a camel and the father of so-and-so, and his son, her husband and her son, rode it and left one camel for us to use for irrigation. He said to her, Perform Umrah when Ramadan comes, for Umrah in Ramadan is equal to Hajj in reward, or said something similar. Chapter 5. Umrah on the night of departure from Mina after Hajj and on other nights. Narrated Aisha. We set out along with Allah's Messenger shortly before the appearance of the new moon crescent of the month of Dhul Hijjah, and he said to us, Whoever wants to assume Ihram for Hajj may do so, and whoever wants to assume Ihram for Umrah may do so. Hadn't I brought the Hadi animal for sacrificing with me, I would have assumed Ihram for Umrah. Aisha added, So some of us assumed Ihram for Umrah, while the others for Hajj. I was amongst those who assumed Ihram for Umrah. The day of Arafat approached, and I was still menstruating. I complained to the Prophet about that, and he said, Abandon your Umrah, undo and comb your hair, and assume Ihram for Hajj. When it was the night of Hasba, he sent Abdurrahman with me to at Tanim, and I assumed Ihram for Umrah and performed it in lieu of my missed Umrah. Chapter 6. Umrah from At-Tanim. Narrated Amr bin Aus. Abdurrahman bin Abu Bakr told me that the Prophet had ordered him to let Aisha ride behind him and to make her perform Umrah from At-Tanim. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah. The Prophet and his companions assumed Ihram for Hajj, and none except the Prophet and Talha had the Hadi with them. Ali had come from Yemen, and he had the Hadi with him. Ali said, I have assumed Ihram with an intention like that of Allah's Messenger has assumed it. The Prophet ordered his companions to intend the Ihram with which they had come for Umrah, to perform the Tawaf of the Kaaba, and between Safa and Marwa to get their hair cut short, and then to finish their Ihram, with the exception of those who had the Hadi with them. They asked, Shall we go to Mina and the private organs of some of us dribbling if we finish Ihram and have sexual relations with our wives? The Prophet heard that and said, Had I known what I know now, I would not have brought the Hadi. If I did not have the Hadi with me, I would have finished my Ihram. Aisha got her menses and performed all the ceremonies of Hajj except the Tawaf. So when she became clean from her menses and she had performed the Tawaf of the Kaaba, she said, O Allah's Messenger, you people are returning with both Hajj and Umrah, and I am returning only with Hajj. So he ordered Abdurrahman bin Abu Bakr to go with her to At-Tanim. Thus she performed Umrah after the Hajj in the month of Dhul Hijjah. Suraka bin Malik bin Jusham met the Prophet at Al-Aqaba, Jamrut ul-Aqaba, while the latter was stoning it, and said, "O Allah's Messenger, is this permissible only for you?" The Prophet replied, "No, it is forever. It is permissible for all Muslims to perform Umrah before Hajj." Chapter 7. Umrah after performing Hajj without having a Hadi. Narrated Aisha. We set out with Allah's Messenger shortly before the appearance of the new moon of Dhul Hijjah, and he said, "Whoever wants to assume Ihram for Umrah may do so, and whoever wants to assume Ihram for Hajj may do so. Had not I brought the Hadi with me, I would have assumed Ihram for Umrah. Some of the people assumed Ihram for Umrah, while the others for Hajj. I was amongst those who had assumed the Ihram for Umrah. I got my menses before entering Mecca, and was menstruating till the day of Arafat. I complained to Allah's Messenger about it. He said, "Abandon your Umrah, undo and comb your hair, and assume Ihram for Hajj." So I did that accordingly. When it was the night of Hasba, day of departure from Mina, the Prophet sent Abdurrahman with me to At-Tanim. The sub-narrator adds, "He, Abdurrahman, let her ride behind him, and she assumed Ihram for Umrah in lieu of the abandoned one. Aisha completed her Hajj and Umrah, and no Hadi, Sadaqah, charity, or fasting was obligatory for her." Chapter 8. The reward of Umrah is according to hardship. Narrated Al-Aswad, that Aisha said, "O Allah's Messenger, the people are returning after performing the two nusuks, Hajj and Umrah, but I am returning with one only." He said, "Wait till you become clean from your menses, and then go to At-Tanim, assume Ihram, and after performing Umrah, join us at such and such a place. But the reward if Umrah is according to your expenses or the hardship which you will undergo while performing it." Chapter 9. If a person departs after performing the Tawaf of Umrah, will that Tawaf substitute for Tawaf al-Wada? Narrated Aisha. We set out assuming the Ihram for Hajj in the months of Hajj towards the sacred precincts of Hajj. We dismounted at Sarif, and the Prophet said to his companions, "Whoever has not got the Hadi with him and likes to make it as Umrah, he should do it. But he who has got the Hadi with him should not do it." The Prophet and some of his wealthy companions had the Hadi with them, so they did not finish Ihram after performing the Umrah. The Prophet came to me while I was weeping. He asked me the reason for it. I replied, "I have heard of what you have said to your companions, and I cannot do the Umrah." He asked me, "What is the matter with you?" I replied, "I am not praying." He said, "There is no harm in it, as you are one of the daughters of Adam, and the same is written for you as for others. So you should perform Hajj, and I hope that Allah will enable you to perform the Umrah as well." So I carried on till we departed from Mina and halted at Al-Mahasab. The Prophet called Abdurrahman and said, "Go out of the sanctuary with your sister and let her assume Ihram for Umrah, and after both of you have finished the Tawaf I will be waiting for you at this place." We came back at midnight, and the Prophet asked us, "Have you finished?" I replied in the affirmative. He announced the departure, and the people set out for the journey, and some of them had performed the tawaf of the Kaaba before the morning prayer, and after the Prophet set out for Medina. And after that, the Prophet set out for Medina. Chapter 10. The same ceremonies in Umrah as in Hajj. Narrated Safwan bin Yala bin Umayyah from his father, who said, "A man came to the Prophet while he was at Jirana. The man was wearing a cloak which had traces of kaluk of sifra, a kind of perfume. The man asked the Prophet, 'What do you order me to perform in my Umrah?' So Allah inspired the Prophet divinely, and he was screened by a place of cloth. I wished to see the Prophet, being divinely inspired. Umar said to me, 'Come, will you be pleased to look at the Prophet while Allah is inspiring him?' I replied in the affirmative. Umar lifted one corner of the cloth, and I looked at the Prophet, who was snoring. The sub-narrator thought that he said the snoring was like that of a camel. When that state was over, the Prophet asked, 'Where is the questioner who asked about Umrah? Put off your cloak and wash away the traces of kaluk from your body and clean the sufra, yellow color, and perform in your Umrah what you perform in your Hajj, yet the tawaf round the Kaaba and the Sahih between Safa and Marwa.'" Narrated Hisham ibn Urwa from his father, who said, While I was a youngster, I asked Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, "What about the meaning of the statement of Allah? Verily, the mountains As-Safa and Al-Marwa are among the symbols of Allah, so it is not harmful if those who perform Hajj or Umrah of the house Kaaba at Mecca to perform the going tawaf between them." 258. I understand from that there is no harm if somebody does not perform the tawaf between them. Aisha replied, "No, for if it were as you are saying, then the recitation would have been like this: It is not harmful not to perform tawaf between them." This verse was revealed in connection with the Ansar, who used to assume the Iram for the idol Manat, which was put beside a place called Kudayd, and those people thought it not right to perform the tawaf of As-Safa and Al-Marwa. When Islam came, they asked Allah's Messenger about that, and Allah revealed, "Verily, the mountains As-Safa and Al-Marwa are among the symbols of Allah, so it is not harmful of those who perform Hajj or Umrah of the house Kaaba at Mecca to perform the going tawaf between them." 258. Sufyan and Abu Muawiyah added from Hisham from Aisha, "The Hajj or Umrah of the person who does not perform the going tawaf between As-Safa and Al-Marwa is incomplete in Allah's sight." Chapter 11. When a person performing Umrah finishes Ihram. Narrated Ismail. Abdullah bin Abu Aufa said, Allah's Messenger performed Umrah, and we too performed Umrah along with him. When he entered Mecca, he performed the Tawaf of Kaaba, and we too performed it along with him. And then he came to the As-Safa and Al-Marwa, he performed the Sahih, and we also came to them along with him. We were shielding him from the people of Mecca, lest they may hit him with an arrow. A friend of his asked him, "Ye Abdullah bin Aufa, did the Prophet enter the Kaaba during that Umrah? He replied in a negative. Then he said, what did he, the Prophet, say about Khadija? He, Abdullah bin Aufa, said, he said, give Khadija the good tidings that she will have a palace made of kasab in paradise, and there will be neither noise nor any trouble in it. Narrated Amr bin Dinar. We asked Ibn Umar whether a man who had performed the tawaf of the Kaaba but had not performed the tawaf between As-Safa and Al-Marwa yet was permitted to have sexual relation with his wife. He replied, the Prophet arrived at Mecca and circumambulated the Kaaba 7 times, and then offered a 2 rakat prayer behind Maqam Ibrahim, and then performed the going tawaf between As-Safa and Al-Marwa 7 times, and verily in Allah's Messenger you have a good example. And we asked Jabir bin Abdullah the same question, and he replied, he should not go near her till he has finished the going tawaf between As-Safa and Al-Marwa. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ashari. I came to the Prophet at Al-Batta while his camel was kneeling down, and he asked me, have you intended to perform the Hajj? I replied in the affirmative. He asked me, with what intention have you assumed Ihram? I replied, I have assumed Ihram with the same intention as that of the Prophet. He said, you have done well. Perform the tawaf of the Kaaba and the sa'i between As-Safa and Al-Marwa, and then finish the Ihram. So I performed the tawaf around the Kaaba and the sa'i between As-Safa and Al-Marwa, and then went to a woman of the tribe of Qais, who cleaned my head from lice. Later I assumed the Ihram for Hajj. I used to give the verdict of doing the same till the Caliphate of Umar, who said, if you follow the Holy Book, then it orders you to remain in the state of Ihram till you finish from Hajj. If you follow the Prophet, then he did not finish his Ihram till the Hadi sacrifice had reached its place of slaughtering Hajj al-Kiram. Narrated Al-Aswad. Abdullah, the slave of Asma bint Abu Bakr, told me that he used to hear Asma whenever she passed by Al-Hajjud saying, may Allah bless his apostle Muhammad. Once we dismounted here with him, and at that time we were traveling with light luggage. We had a few riding animals and a little food ration. I, my sister Aisha, As-Subayr, and such persons performed Umrah, and when we had passed our hands over the Kaaba, he had performed tawaf around the Kaaba and between As-Safa and Al-Marwa. We finished our Ihram. Later on, we assumed Ihram for Hajj the same evening. Chapter 12. What to say on returning from Hajj, Umrah, Ghazwa. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. Whenever Allah's Messenger returned from a Ghazwa, Hajj or Umrah, he used to say Takbir thrice at every elevation of the ground, and then would say, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. He is one and has no partner. All the kingdoms is for him, and all the praises are for him. And he is omnipotent. We are returning with repentance, worshipping, prostrating, and praising our Lord. He has kept his promise and made his slave victorious, and he alone defeated all the clans of non-believers. Chapter 13. Reception of the returning pilgrims. Narrated Ibn Abbas. When the Prophet arrived at Mecca, some boys of the tribe of Bani Abdul Muttalib went to receive him, and the Prophet made one of them ride in front of him and the other behind him. Chapter 14. Arriving in the morning. Narrated Ibn Umar. Whenever Allah's Messenger left for Mecca, he used to pray in the mosque of Ash-Shajra. And when he returned to Medina, he used to pray in the middle of the valley of Dhul Hulayfa, and he used to pass the night there till morning. Chapter 15. Returning after midday till sunset. Narrated Anas. The Prophet never returned to his family from a journey at night. He used to return either in the morning or in the afternoon. Chapter 16. Not to go to family on arrival at night. Narrated Jabir. The Prophet forbade going to one's family at night on arrival from a journey. Chapter 17. To proceed faster on reaching his town. Narrated Humayd. Anas said, whenever Allah's Messenger returned from a journey, he, on seeing the high places of Medina, will make his she-camel proceed faster, and if it were another animal, even then he used to make it proceed faster. Narrated Humayd that the Prophet used to make it proceed faster out of his love for Medina. Narrated Anas. As above, but mention the walls of Medina. Instead of the high places of Medina, Al-Harith bin Umar agrees with Anas. Chapter 18. So enter houses through their proper doors. Narrated Abu Ishaq. I heard Al-Bara saying, the above verse was revealed regarding us, for the Ansar on returning from Hajj never entered their houses through the proper doors but from behind. One of the Ansar came and entered through the door, and he was launted for it. Therefore the following was revealed. It is not righteous that you enter the houses from the back, but the righteous man is he who fears Allah, obeys his order, and keeps away from what he has forbidden. So enter houses through the proper doors. 289. Chapter 19. Traveling is a kind of torture. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, traveling is a kind of torture as it prevents one from eating, drinking and sleeping properly. So when one's needs are fulfilled, one should return quickly to one's family. Chapter 20. What to do to arrive home early. Narrated Zayd bin Aslam from his father. I was with Ibn Umar on the way to Mecca, and he got the news that Safiya bint Abu Ubaid was seriously ill. So he hastened his pace, and when the twilight disappeared, he dismounted and offered the Maghrib and Isha prayers together. Then he said, I saw that whenever the Prophet had to hasten when traveling, he would delay the Maghrib prayer and join them together. He offered the Maghrib and the Isha prayers together.